welcome back to Fatal Female Friday. This episode, I guess, we're going to be discussing the case of Rebecca Douglas, which actually this place takes over across the ocean in little old Europe. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. And so Julie, who is one of our main characters, she was born Fatou Julie Safer Sharif. Julie's family came here from Britain, from Sierra Leone, Africa, with her family, including her father, who was a policeman, which I thought he was the sheriff because her last name is Sheriff, but no, he's just a regular policeman. And so Rebecca wasn't close to her mother and was often reported as a runaway, which apparently that's normal during the teen years. Sorry, I feel like I should mention this. She had a friend named Rebecca. Rebecca apparently was like the opposite of Julie, but apparently somehow they became friends. And so Rebecca wasn't close to her mother, and she was often reported as a runaway. Somehow, at one point, due to them having different zip codes in the area, because this is a bigger city with different, some cities have different zip codes in them, they had different zip codes, so they went from being, like, best friends to, like, rivals because of zip codes. And so, Rebecca and Julie eventually became well known to the police. Somehow rumors started spreading online about Rebecca sleeping with multiple guys, and that Rebecca believed that Julie did it, even though we don't really know exactly who did it. So Rebecca and some friends go to Julie's house and confront and attack her, and they were going to say that it was over a $5 note that was stolen from her.
Really, nigga?
Her father, who was an officer, so he wasn't just an officer back there, he was an officer here, not here, he was an officer there too. He walks in on the attack and he gets all of them out of the house. They come back later to throw rocks at the window to where the father has to chase them off again. Julie obviously gets scared enough to the point she's scared to leave the house because of the bullying. On May 7th, Rebecca confronted Julie outside of a betting shop in London, asking her what she was doing in Clapham, because apparently she wasn't supposed to be in that area. It wasn't like she legally couldn't be there, it was just they said she couldn't be there because they didn't want her there, basically, right? And so Rebecca then accuses Julie to her face about being the one who spread the rumor about her being promiscuous. And so then obviously she's like, no. And so then she handed her friends her bag, told her to hold it, and her BlackBerry phone. And then she stabbed Julia in the head and shoulder with a little afro comb that Julia apparently had in her hair. So then Julia fell and went into a coma. They obviously got medical attention rushed to her because this just happened out in broad daylight. Rebecca ended up bragging about it on social media and claimed that she would even kill Julie when Julie's over here literally clinging to life.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
The coma ended up lasting until September 21st, and then she died. So Julie ended up dying as a result of the swelling and her brain bleeding. So then Rebecca was jailed for 15 months before she was actually found guilty. Luckily there was CCTV coverage was shown, and that was shown at the trial, and Julie's father obviously couldn't watch the footage because we know that's what killed his daughter, and so he had to leave the room because he couldn't stand the violence that his daughter endured, because they had moved to London to literally escape the violence. And here we are, his daughter, who had a whole life to live, she's now dead. So understandably the dad just couldn't watch it. Julie's mother wasn't even allowed into the country for Julie's funeral, which is kind of messed up. Julie had even left behind a sister named Favor, who apparently was 3, and a little brother named John, who was 8 months at the time of the murder. The judge, for some reason, had put a cover over, because at the time this happened, she was a minor, but her name was somehow her name got leaked somehow, and it got revealed. And that's how we know what her real name is. So thank you for the person that leaked it. So Rebecca was ended up sentenced to spend 10 years minimum, not maximum, but minimum, in prison.
Bullshit.
And Julie's father admitted that he had suicidal thoughts after her death and feels that it is his fault. So yeah, that's pretty much all the information I could find regarding that case. This is not one of the well-known cases. I don't know if it's because it took place in another country, but for some reason this case was not as well documented, so there's not as much information. So I basically gave you all that I know. So yeah. So that was it for that episode of Faith Pillar Friday, and I will see you again with the case of Amima Nelson.